Winter. It's the time of year when the nights get longer and the world goes quiet. We look out at the thick fog or the blanket of snow and think we are safe inside our warm homes. But hidden within that freezing cold and silence are things that can make your blood run cold, even under a warm blanket. In this video, I'm going to tell you 3 true stories that happened on winter nights just like this one, when help was far away and danger was right at the doorstep. Put your headphones on and turn off the lights. Let's get into it. Story 1: The Blizzard Guest. This happened a few years ago when I rented a remote cabin in Vermont. I needed a break from the city noise, and I thought a solo winter getaway would be perfect. The first 2 days were great, but on the afternoon of the 3rd day, the sky turned pitch black. The weather forecast warned of a massive blizzard. By evening, the storm hit. The wooden cabin was shaking from the howling wind. It was around 11 p.m. I was sitting by the fireplace reading a book. Suddenly, I heard a sound against the window glass. Tap, tap, tap. I thought it was just a tree branch hitting the glass due to the wind, but the sound was rhythmic, like a finger tapping. I got up and went to the window. It was pitch black outside, and the snow was coming down hard. I couldn't see anything. I convinced myself it was just my imagination and sat back down. 30 minutes later, I heard it again, but this time it came from a different window, the back window, the one facing the dense forest. A chill ran down my spine. It was impossible for anyone to be out in this storm, and if someone needed help, they would knock on the front door, not the back window. I grabbed a flashlight and went to the back room. I slowly peeled back the curtain. When I shone the light through the glass, I froze. In the fresh snow right outside the window, there were fresh footprints. The tracks came from the woods and stopped right under the window, but there were no footprints leading away. That meant the person was still standing right there, pressed against the wall, just inches below the glass. I didn't wait a second. I ran around checking every lock on the doors and windows. I didn't have a gun, so I just grabbed a heavy iron poker from the fireplace. I didn't sleep that night. Even over the roar of the wind, I swear I could hear someone walking around the perimeter of the cabin. The heavy crunch of boots on snow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. They didn't try to break in. They were just letting me know they were there. When the police arrived the next morning after the storm cleared, they found footprints all around the cabin. It looked like the person had spent the entire night looking into every single window, watching me. I packed up and left that same day. I still don't know who it was or why they were standing outside my cabin in a deadly blizzard. Story 2: The Shortcut. I was driving home for Christmas break. It was around 2 a.m. To avoid traffic on the highway, I decided to take an old back road. That was the biggest mistake of my life. The road was narrow, with thick woods on both sides. The road was icy from a snowstorm a few days prior. I was driving carefully. The road was so desolate that I hadn't seen another car in over an hour. Suddenly, while taking a sharp turn, my tires lost traction on a patch of black ice. I lost control. The car spun out and slammed into a snowbank on the side of the road. The engine died. I tried to restart it. Click, click, click. It wouldn't turn over. I pulled out my phone. No service. The temperature outside was below freezing. The heat inside the car was fading fast. I knew if I stayed there all night, I might freeze to death. I was praying for a car to pass by. About 20 minutes later, I saw headlights in the distance. My heart leapt. I got out of the car, ready to wave them down. But as the light got closer, my blood went cold. It wasn't a car. It was a man. He was walking down the middle of the road holding a flashlight. Who walks down a desolate road at 2 a.m. in freezing weather? The man stopped near my car. He was wearing an old, torn jacket and had a thick, unkempt beard. He shined the light directly into my face. I squinted. "Need some help?" His voice was raspy, like he hadn't spoken in days. "Yeah, my car is stuck. Do you have a phone?" I asked, hopeful. The man didn't answer. He just smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. He started walking toward my car. My gut instinct screamed at me. I jumped back into the car and locked the doors immediately. The man walked right up to my driver's side window. He leaned in, pressing his face against the glass. Then he pulled on the door handle. "Open the door," he said, calmly. I was shaking. "Just go away, or I'll call the police." I lied, knowing I had no signal. The man smiled again. "Nobody comes out here." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a large hunting knife. He started tapping the tip of the knife against my window. Clink, clink, clink. I curled up under the dashboard. The glass was starting to crack. 1 or 2 more hits and he would be inside. Just then, my car engine suddenly roared to life. I didn't hesitate. I slammed on the gas. The car jerked free from the snowbank. I looked in the rearview mirror. The man was standing in the middle of the road, his flashlight beam pointed at my car. I don't know what would have happened if the car hadn't started at that exact moment. I never took a shortcut again. Story 3. The Snow Figure. I was 15 years old. We had a huge backyard. One day, after a heavy snowfall, school was canceled. My parents both went to work, so I was home alone. Around noon, I was watching TV in the living room. We had a large sliding glass door that looked out into the backyard. Suddenly, I noticed something in the middle of the yard. There was a snowman standing there. I was confused. I hadn't gone outside, and neither had my parents. Our house was secluded, so it was unlikely a neighbor kid came over. It looked weird. It didn't have a face, just a lumpy pile of snow shaped like a person. I shrugged it off and went back to watching TV. About an hour later, I went to the kitchen to get some water. I glanced outside again. I dropped the glass. It shattered on the floor. The snowman wasn't in the middle of the yard anymore. It was now much closer to the house, only a few feet away from the porch. I knew it had moved, but how? It was made of snow. My throat went dry. I ran over and pulled the curtains shut and made sure the door was locked tight. I didn't know what to do. Should I call the police and tell them a snowman is coming to get me? They would think I was crazy. I peeked through the crack in the curtains. It was now standing on the porch, pressed right up against the glass. Now that it was close, I could see it clearly. It wasn't a snowman. The shape was lumpy, but it had a head and 2 arms, and those arms were reaching for the door handle. The scariest part was that it wasn't wearing any clothes, but it wasn't made of snow either. Its skin was pale white, exactly like the snow, but it was skin. It was a naked, pale human pretending to be a statue. I screamed and ran for the phone. As I dialed 911, I could hear the handle of the back door jiggling violently. By the time the police arrived, the figure was gone, but they found muddy footprints on the porch. The thing that was standing there had been naked and barefoot. The police told me that in those freezing temperatures, a naked person couldn't survive for long, but they never found him. It was like he just melted away into the snow. Those were 3 true stories that prove just how terrifying winter nights can be. Have you ever had an experience like this? Let me know in the comments. If these stories sent a shiver down your spine, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, because winter is just getting started. Stay safe and lock your doors. Good night.